Hey everybody, I've got a viewer that was very interested in taking things like this. They live in an RV, a big bus, and they were wanting to know, hey, can we use some regular appliances, like lights and fans? I've already kind of given them an idea how to do a Westinghouse, an old 1950s Westinghouse fan with an electric motor in it, and they're working on that, but he didn't know anything about how to figure out using the light. And he says, hey man, can you make a video on it? Here, we're making a video. So this is a 12-volt light, DC. It pulls 0.4 amps and produces about 43 watts rated light. Now it's warm white, nice color, and this up in here is a 40-watt bulb. So the difference is that if you take an inverter and you run the inverter to produce the power, you've got parasitic losses all through the system going through there. They've got, I think he said like 8 regular cigarette lighter outlets in his RV, and wanted to know if he could take his mother's old lamps, would they work? Well, here we go. So what we're going to show you is the process of installing a switch that'll light up. So just in case your bulb isn't working, it'll be lit, so it'll tell you there's power. A 12-volt bulb, and because this one has the 3-way in it, we're going to identify what part of that in polarity is on the plug so that we know where the center lead for DC voltage is going to be for the positive side of this. So the process we'll have to find is we'll have to discover which one is the difference between the positive and negative, or what you would call the line power that's coming in, and the common neutral line. So you'd have to go in there. I've had people complain, and I'm like, most people just understand plus and negative. But you have a polarized plug set, which that would be your common or neutral, and this would be your hot or positive. That's the way it works. And the reason you'd call it a positive because it's above 0 in your sine wave. Now, the glue, welder glue, excellent. The bulb, excellent bulbs. Any of these items I'll put below the video so you can kind of figure out how to do this yourself with ease, including the 12-volt DC pigtails that you can buy in numerous quantities. So we're going to be using a standard tapered drill bit that allows you to size the holes you want. Works perfect for these, which are basically 15/16, and they snap in. And we're going to put them up here high in the base. Now on this lamp, it is an old Joe Boxer, been around for a while, and we're going to do it to that one so it can be used as a table lamp in a motorhome or travel trailer. All right, let me get the parts set up, and I'll show you how we've done it as we identify the process. Okay, with the lamp unplugged, remember that point, unplugged, you're going to make sure your light was on when you remove the bulb, and you then unplugged it and removed the light, but make sure it was on so we know that the switch that's in there is active. Now, if you have a single pull switch that just goes on or off, you can leave it in there. It's not going to hurt this process. I prefer the small switch down at the base myself. So we've got a multimeter, and the multimeter is set on continuity right there. And it should be where it will beep. You get these 2 leads held up here. All right, and now we get these 2 leads, and should be able to hear that buzz there, that little beep buzz, whatever you want to call it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take what I know is to be my line and my neutral, and I'm going to just put the multimeter in that, and then I'm going to reach in here, and you're going to go to the center point where your bulb would touch. And you can see the multimeter reacting. That means that I have continuity from this point to that point centered. So that would be now your DC positive when you cut this wire. So the way to figure that out is generally these wires will have either some bold lines, they'll have a flat side, they'll have lettering. So this one with the lettering side is going to be that lead right there. Okay? Now, the simplest process for that is to go ahead and pull some of your wire back like I'm doing here, and I'll go ahead and cut it. So now we're going to do that, and then I'm going to start to open up the base of this lamp. Yours might differ in how it's set up, so I'll get a little stronger tool there and open up the base. and it should give us access. We have a plate that's in here that needs to be removed, and it'll allow us to take the whole base off if we choose to do so. So there's our base. And remember how this all goes back together. All right, there's our base, and the whole body of the lamp is now open. This is going to allow me then to drill a hole to place my switch. Now my switch, I want to make sure that it'll clear everything, so I'm going to put it up in here like that and take a look under, and it looks like it will. And we're going to put the switch right up here like that. That way you reach up with your finger and turn the switch on and off. It's got a little small LED that lights up. So let me get this drilled. We'll put it in there, and I'll start the wiring process. Since we know that the lettered side is the center lead, or positive now, on a DC circuit. Okay, now we have the switch installed. You can see it right here. It's a nice little pretty jobber right there. And I decided before I drilled it, I'm going to step it off to the side a little bit. That's actually a little nicer than if you lay something in front of it, you're not going to be activating the switch. So it's just a little off to the side, see? Now, what it works with is a switch that has a DC report light inside of it. Now, what that means is that your center lead is your positive now, not line, because you're DC voltage, and your common is going to be your negative. So what you have here is you have your negative going to that, and then over here is your power in, which is going to be for your positive 12 volts. So this switch here is a 10 amp capacity, more than enough for what we're doing, and I will turn it on, and you'll see the light kicks on inside. Okay, now that has got plenty of room underneath when we put the cover back on, just by about 1/4 of an inch, so it looks pretty good. If you look over here in the bottom, you'll see that the switch like that, pretty simple setup, and the cord will come out of here. Now the cord is just going to be your standard cord that'll fit into here, and the way we're going to set it up is we're going to epoxy it into that hole right there. So it's already kind of tapered for that design, and we'll just push it in like that and epoxy it, and then you'll be able to plug into it like that. All right, so we're going to get this soldered up. Pretty nice. Now the kind of bulb that's in it's not the one I prefer, but it's fairly bright. It'll be much brighter on the ceiling, as you can see back on the backdrop there, but it will not be perfect for this. Now you can use this, that's my preference, but you can use a regular 7 watt that puts out 60 watts. You can use the 9 watt that puts out 75 watts of light and uses very little power. So we have it a decent soldering job for what it's worth, and the weld glue, that's this stuff here. This is really dynamite stuff, and I have this welder glue, put it a little bit around the switch where it comes through that second plate, put it around where the wire comes in, and then isolated the wires and put a piece of painter's tape over that so we could put a clamp on it. And we'll let that dry for about an hour and test her out. So you'll get to see it with the bottom put on and the light working. All right, now we have got the base finalized. We have the original felt cover, Joe Boxer, back on it. We have the little chain removed. We have a 12-volt bulb. Now this one is an up focus bulb, so it won't appear to be as bright as this one here, the 120, but it is as bright, and we'll be able to show you that here in a second. And then on the back there, we have the power inlet. Now, I made this like this for a reason. The outlet is above, it's straight above, and that wire kind of run along the wall on this one, run up the wall. But the base was also too shallow to put a proper adapter into it for that purpose. And it allows you to unplug it. And so it'll run off of a 12-volt power pack with the same standard. I believe that's the 5mm, and the switch on it is a 10 amp, as we discussed. And the way that we went was, of course, to check the continuity, to discover where it was at, and using your multimeter, you'll use what'll be a continuity marker. Typically, it's about that location on, as far as I've seen, on a bunch of multimeters. So it'll come up with a 1 on the screen, or a 0 and a 1, and when you touch them together, it'll go to 0. That tells you there's full flow. But here we go. Here is the lamp, and let's give it a shot. And there we go, from a 12-volt source. See? There it is. Now, so you have that. We'll turn the lights off in the tool room and see how bright she stays. There we go. Not too bad. So like I said, pretty bright, but it is an up-angle bulb. And if you want a standard one, there you go. You can just buy you a regular bulb that will work in there for 12-volt purpose. But using a nice house lamp in your RV at the kitchen table does look a lot more classier than the cheap RV stuff they sell. All right, guys, y'all be good. Do it yourself. It's not that hard.